Hi, so we have Rocio Dresser from, where are you, Rocio? Tell everybody where you are.
I'm in San Diego, California.
Fantastic. And we're here to, I suppose, just ask you a few questions about your new book, the process it took to write your new book, what people think of it, that sort of thing. So I'll dive straight in. Rocio, how has your family and friends took to the book? How many of them have read it thus far?
Well, lots of family members have read it on both sides of the family, and they're interested, specifically my cousins, because like I, I was in the same situation in that the adults never really talked about my father.
Mhm.
And so for the first time, they have somebody who is going to give them, or I might as well say, open a window to the past
Mhm.
and really show them who this person was, because
Yeah,
we didn't talk about it.
yeah.
So I've had responses from my cousins, not so much from my aunts who were, my father's sisters
Mm.
or my mother's siblings, because there was, the families got separated.
Go
But mostly,
just
mhm,
before I ask you those, I should have probably asked you an earlier question, which is just because obviously I'm privy to the book, I know all about it, I've read it, I've helped
mhm.
you work on it, and the people watching this interview will probably won't have a clue what the book's about. Yeah, it's a book called In My
Okay.
Father's Shadow. Revolutionary. What's the subtitle?
Colombian Revolutionary's Daughter.
Okay, so tell if you can imagine that maybe somebody's tuning into this interview on a podcast that doesn't know you, doesn't know me, doesn't know what the book's about. Give her a minute or two on exactly what the book is about.
Well, the book is about a girl's journey to put together a puzzle that the father left behind after he left the family. So it is a journey, and at first there's the stage is set in South America, in Colombia, and the father is a doctor, or is a medical student actually, and then when he sees that he was present actually when some of his classmates were killed after a demonstration by the military, and and he just that really sealed his commitment to the revolution, and swears that he's going to fight for injustice, specifically against the government that we had at the time, which was, it was a very, very restrictive and very, it was a dictatorial government. So it was very difficult.
And
And
what era are we talking about? Because the book
so
is
we're
written
talking
by.
about the 1950s, and in the entire Latin America, there is a socialist movement going on, and so a lot of the young people, including my father, became drawn to that, trying to find a way to fight injustice, believing that maybe another, type of government would help, but in doing that, the family gets uh, pulled into this drama and into this uh, history of political discourse and trauma for the family. And so, with that, the family stays together through the time they live in Chicago, where the father becomes a surgeon. Then they move to Canada, and at that time in Canada, the Quebec is trying to separate from Canada, And so the whole the Americas are going through a political and socioeconomic changes that are impacting lots of people, including this family
Mhm.
and my family. So the father comes to a point where he has to decide whether to stay with the family or dedicate himself to the cause.
Now, don't give
And
too much away, Rocio.
that's it. That's
Don't give
it.
too much away.
And
Uh,
so that's the point where we need to, when you read the book, you see and you'll find out what his decision is, and whatever decision he makes, how that impacts the family and the children. So that's pretty much what the book is about.
okay. Now, I think it's fair to say that this book's been in your head for many, many years. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for over 30 years.
Okay.
And
And people don't know, but you eventually, and you'd written the book when I first got to see it. The book was more or less written, and you reached out to me more or less. I supposed to be a bit of a book coach, more than anything,
yes,
just to put a fresh pair of eyes on the actual project, if you like. And I think it's fair to say to carry it over the line. And
yes.
I mean, tell me what you thought of that process. Was that process give you what you wanted?
Oh wow. I I could have never done it without you. And I was some people have asked me now, friends, like, how did you write this book? And it was a process. It was organic in that I didn't know everything that was going to be in the book. But the but and then I added pretty much everything. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and so by the time it got to you, it was enormous. And I think that for me, you were key to making this a publication, because I was so um, embedded
hmm,
and so into the book that I could not see what you were seeing.
hmm,
And that worked out perfectly well,
yeah,
because for you was new material, and for me was like I was in there.
hmm.
And so it's like when you look at a painting, if you're so close to it, you can't see the painting. So somebody has to step back and look at it from another perspective, right?
We,
And I
well,
think
we
you
we
were
look
key to that.
we use an English expression. I think you probably use it in America as well. You can't see the wood for the trees.
Yes,
It's literally that situation. Now,
exactly.
the very first draft I got of the book, and I think if you remember rightly, I told you. I mean, it was a fascinating read, even at that point. Um, and I suppose all it really needed was a fresh pair of eyes and a polish, I suppose, at the end of the day, and a good editor. Our good friend Joan, who edited the book, she cast another pair of eyes, and she actually
Yes,
came up with things that I missed or I hadn't seen. And yeah, I mean the process went smoothly enough, I think. But
yes.
you're very proud of the result, I would assume now.
I'm very proud of the results, but I really want to give a huge amount of credit to you and the vision that you had and your expertise as an author and your work. Because like I was telling many of my colleagues and friends, is I had never published a novel. All I have published are professional articles, and that's a different kind of language
Absolutely,
altogether. And
absolutely.
so this was monumental for me. It was just something that I had never thought I could do,
Yeah.
basically.
Now, tell me, because I love asking these questions. What was it like when the first copy of the book came through your door, through your letterbox?
I I almost couldn't breathe. Like I never thought this was possible. I was I was holding the book like I didn't want to let it go. Like
Yeah.
somebody's gonna take it away from me, and
Yeah.
maybe this is a dream, and
Uh-huh.
it really never happened. So I was like, oh, the cover is so soft, and I'm looking at the pages, like I don't know, like I had a new. It just hard to explain, but I felt like I wanted to make sure that it was real, that
Yeah.
because it
And-
just I didn't think this could happen.
yeah.
So anyway, so
The
I
end of
kept
it.
it close to me, and my husband was taking pictures and sending to the family.
No, you'll
But
have to get them pictures to me because I haven't seen them. I know you really liked your cover. I thought the cover of the book was fabulous. Do you have a
mhm.
copy there?
An earlier copy, um,
Just hold the cover up to the camera. Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely beautiful cover. I love it.
yeah,
Absolutely love it. You know,
yeah, and then the back was also nice, has a
absolutely.
picture and stuff like that, and um,
Tremendous. And obviously we were able to find you a publisher as well, which is always a bonus, really. So
yes.
when you first saw it live on Amazon, what did you think when you first saw it live on Amazon? I've been
When
told
oh,
it's
I was
doing quite
after I
well.
got the book, I kept looking on Amazon to see when it would be there.
Mhm.
When I saw it, it just made me believe that it was true. Like yes, I have the book, but and maybe I'm gonna hold it tight until I just see it there, and then that made me confident that now it was in the market, and
Yeah.
so um,
What do you
thanks.
think?
And
I'm going to
go
put a
ahead.
scenario here. What do you think? Obviously, your father's dead now, but if there was a place, I don't know what your religious views are, but if there was a place where
Mhm.
somebody, wherever he was, and somebody was to give him the copy of that book and says, read it, what do you think he would think of it? That's an awkward
I
question.
think I never expected that question, but um, what I think is he would, in a way, smile and because he would have liked that I did the research.
Mhm.
One of the things that is in the book, actually, he told us that even if he wasn't around, he wanted us to finish what he had started.
Mhm.
And my mother made every effort possible so that none of us got into politics.
Mhm.
However, all of us have a huge social conscience, and we tend to help all the people in need. And by writing the book is telling the story um, because there was a lot of misinformation given to people,
Mhm.
uh, and without telling the end of the what happens at the end of the book, it's at the end of the book there was many things published that were controlled by the government and the media in the U.S. Usually, which was not true, and now I'm telling the truth of what really
Fantastic.
happened.
Mhm.
And so I think that he would be very pleased with that piece, saying, I'm glad you're telling the truth, and I'm sorry that you had to go through this.
Mhm.
But I think that if he lived again, he would probably do it a little differently, but his
Mhm.
intent to help those
Others,
in need
yeah,
would be the same.
yeah.
That would not change. So that's what he would say probably.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, as I say, I've read the book and helped you with the book, and I know the storyline as well. But the huge conflict that you described very, very well between what should have been right for the family and the mix of your father, the revolutionary. There's wonderful points in the book where young Rocio, and again, I love the way it's written from a young person's point of view. Confusion, what's happening here? What's that? Why has he went there? Why isn't he coming back? And this, that, and the other. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, to be honest. And if he was to
Mhm.
maybe live his life over again, there would be certain
Mhm.
things that he would do different, but never lose that social injustice for others, the what's right and what's wrong, the morals of everything. It's a lovely book. It really is. As I say, the
Yeah.
very first draft that I saw, it immediately kind of reeled me in. And
I think one of the struggles of the girl is of me actually is the fact that um, no adult was willing to tell her the truth. And I've always been a very inquisitive person, and good or bad, I've liked to be informed. And when I'm informed, it isn't that it repairs anything, it doesn't fix anything, but somehow I can find some peace in the truths.
yeah.
Whereas avoidance wasn't something that I was hoping from my elders to do, or so that was a struggle, and I think that really that was another thing that really pushed me to research the book, because I did go to Cuba twice. I've been into Ecuador. I lived there for a year. I interviewed many people, and I read my in bookcase is full of
Yeah.
political books.
Mhm.
I was telling a friend maybe that the FBI is looking for me because of
Mhm.
the topics that I'm looking for,
Yeah, I know.
that I'm
But
researching.
but again, I mean, research is one of the most interesting aspects of writing books for me personally as well.
Hmm.
You learn so much, and as you say, I mean, I use a Kindle, but I've got hundreds and hundreds of books on the Kindle that you've
Hmm.
read in relation to books that you've written. But yours was very, very personal to you, so I
Hmm.
can only imagine it was probably even better for you doing that
Hmm.
research and about subjects and times in Colombia where you were there. You were very much part
Hmm.
of the scene, if you like. Um,
Yeah. And it create and this really actually helps me set the context in which the story takes place with the research, right? And I start seeing all these parallels where we lived. For some reason, something was going on, and my father was involved. And then we lived in Montreal, and something was going on, and then my father was involved. So I don't know, it's like, were we there by chance, or this was a
mhm.
premeditated kind of decision that my father did? And so that's clearly explained in the book, because it's like, if you look deeper into the book, there's a historical, there's a political, socio-economic, everything coming, revolution coming up in that particular place, from even little towns and things like that. So it was really enlightening, and for me, enlightening to see that, to see that parallel. Um,
Absolutely right. As I say, to describe it's a saga. It's an epic, really.
yes.
I mean, not epic in terms of six or 700,000 words, but it's certainly got everything. It's got the love and the revenge and the revolution and the politics and the social injustice. If I was to put you on a pedestal for 1 minute and say, why should a reader buy this book? I'll put you on the
Hmm.
spot. What would you say?
I think, um, I don't know if there's one particular reason, but I think a reader would love to read this book because it takes place during the Cold War, and the impact that uh, governments, uh, like a dictatorial government, has on families and societies. And if the person thinks that this is happening right now all over again, it's like it's this we would have to learn from the past so that our future is better. And opening that window to the past may reveal something that is important to you and for us as society to the present. You know, that is in a general terms. In a more personal term would be that families, it's like people have asked me about the book. And I said, you know what? Everybody has a story. You just have to tell it. Tell your story. And a reader that would like the story because it could be pertinent to them. Families have sagas, families have difficulties, they have challenges, and how these challenges change them and change their lives and impacts their lives. That's one of the reasons why I would read this book, because people can relate to that. For me, that they can relate to
you went over your minute, I'm afraid, Rocio.
Okay.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Remember,
But
I was
again,
a professor.
yeah, but a reader, I hear what you're saying about everybody's got a story and you just have to tell it. But not many people have a story as dramatic as the one that you've told, and told very well.
I understand.
Now, there's also you're also mentioning getting the book translated into Spanish, because there's a huge Spanish audience. Obviously, Colombia is a Spanish-speaking country. How's that translation going, dare I ask?
Yes, I'm actually on chapter 3. I already have an editor in Colombia, and he's working for me. So we have set up a calendar to have it translated. Translation comes easy to me because I've done a lot of translation. But again, I'm not a good editor of my own work. I can edit somebody else's work, not mine. And so that's coming along, and I've already had quite a lot of requests, specifically on Facebook, requesting the book in Spanish, because it is relevant to Spanish-speaking communities. You know, this anyway. So I'm already on it.
Good stuff. I'm glad to hear that. Well, as I say, we're just tying the interview up now. We've spoke for about 30 minutes, and I have to say it's all been good. I mean, a lot of these interviews that I do, you're having to stop and you chop and change and that sort of thing. But your conversations flowed very, very well. Any news of it been any local bookshops where you live? Have you went down that road yet? Because that's another wonderful moment when you see a book in a bookshelf on a bookshop window.
Well, the first thing, I'm taking this as a process, and I'm having the 28th of April, I'm having at my house, I have a nice backyard that looks to the ocean. And so I have about 40 people attending.
Lovely.
They have already bought the book, and their family, friends, neighbors, supporters. And from then, I'm going to start planning, different visits to libraries and my universities, my alma mater in San Francisco, and so on. But I think it has to be, we need to go one step at a time, because this month has been a little overwhelming. I've been on the phone, Facebook,
That's good. And
that's another thing that authors have to think about, is that their lives are going to change for the good, but
I always remember one of my first book, not one of my first books, and it was actually published by an American publisher. And once I'd written it and they published the book, the guy rang us up and said, right, now the hard work starts.
That's exactly how I feel.
Writing the book's easy, but early reviews coming in, Rocio, they're very good.
Yes,
Mhm.
They're very good. Mhm.
Okay.
I have 5 stars so far.
Excellent.
5 stars.
Excellent. Well, we
Lots
want
of
to,
and the also for me the fact that most of my friends are avid readers.
good.
It helps because they and they they love to read,
Mhm.
and that's not true for everyone here. I think the U.S. has only 10% of the population are readers.
Readers.
They know how to read, but they don't. It's just
Yeah.
so it really helps to
Because
work
of
with
these things,
community.
isn't it? It's because of these things now, just
Mhm.
everybody just short attention spans and scrolling through
Yes.
videos and that sort of thing. It's a bit
Yep.
sad, but probably it's very similar level to the UK, I would think. I
Mm.
know my children. I mean, my girl's 28 now, but they seldom read a book. They really seldom read a book.
Mm.
I think it's kind of all our generation, or maybe it's a little bit younger, but the youngsters now just don't seem to bother, which is sad. But let's not put a dampener on it. It's a fabulous achievement that you've pulled off, and I wish you all the best. As I say, the reviews coming in, I'm reading them all, are very good. We need to get you up to 50 or 100, and then
That's what I'm trying to do.
Amazon starts promoting your book once they see it at that level. But early sales, I'm told the publisher, the early sales are very good and the reviews are very good. So we really can't ask for any more, can we?
No, no, I just and I have a young man who is helping me with publicity and stuff like that, and he's helping me set up Facebook and all this media outlets so that and but then my phone is ding ding all the time.
Oh, well, that's
Now
good.
I'm working.
Yeah, that's
Now
good
I'm working.
advice. Now,
Uh,
before I go, I have to ask the $1 million question, Rocio. Can you guess what it
okay.
is?
I have no idea.
Yes, you surely are. Is there a book two in you?
A book what?
A book
A
two
book too. Um, you know, I have to think about I have to translate it into Spanish first.
first,
I
yeah.
think that will give me time and space for another book.
Mhm.
But and I've thought about it. I just have
Good.
not
That's good.
uh yeah, I need to give it more time. Right now I'm dedicated
Absolutely.
to this book and to the translation, which translation can
Yeah.
take a long time.
Well, yeah.
And
Your publisher will tell you concentrate on book one. Let's get the sales up and all that sort of thing. So, as you say, you've a lot of hard work ahead of you. I hope you have a fabulous book launching party. The 20 people that's coming to your backyard.
40,
As you say, 40.
40,
Ah, I thought you said 20, 40. That's even better. So, plenty photographs for your publisher, please.
I will.
And share all your posts, the social media posts. And I'm sure we'll catch up very, very soon, Rocio.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.